on HTV. On Tuesday, a network first.
For 35 years, Castro's Cuba has defied the United States from within its own backyard. But now, it stands alone as never before.
Tuesday, inside Castro's Cuba at 10:40.
Channel 4's series exploring the FBI continues in a few moments. Here on HTV, our movie premiere sees the return of Gizmo. Gremlins 2, next.
Major British discoveries in medical technology are celebrated on 4 unusual new stamps from Royal Mail. These achievements have become crucial to world medicine. You'll find the fascinating details in this special presentation pack. Medical discoveries, stamps that pay tribute to all British scientists who work for the health and well-being of mankind.
Good morning, and it's another cloudy day over.
Severe congestion on the M6 causing long tailback.
I'm sorry I'm not available to take your call right now, but please expect
Freezing temperatures.
I'm trying to connect you. Please hold the line.
Free Spirit Holidays.
Nestlé clusters. Crunchy clusters of nuts combined with crispy golden wheat flakes and a touch of honey for an utterly delicious taste. If you like nuts, you'll love Nestlé clusters.
HTV's got them, the best movies. Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas share a basic instinct.
We're both innocent, Nick.
On your mark! Schwarzenegger is
Get set!
the running man.
Animal, cannibal.
HTV's got the films you want to see.
I'll help you catch him, Terry.
Quid pro quo, Doctor.
This autumn on HTV.
All good things to those who wait.
Let's get one thing straight. I'm not one of the brothers. You and me are through, Dave.
Paddy, what's going on? Soldier, Soldier, Tuesday at 9 on HTV.
ITV and Diet Coke presents Movie Premiere.
I'm right there. Is everyone ready for him?
Sure.
You want to win?
Okay, let's get this picture started.
Ready to go to work?
Sure am. Let me know when they want me, okay?
Sure, it'll just be a few minutes.
All right.
There are 50p coins in circulation. You can save one when you buy a McChicken sandwich extra value meal from McDonald's.
What's up tonight in this city?
Organics, the only shampoo with glucosyl, a natural nutrient which nourishes the life source of hair, the roots. Organics strengthens hair, giving life and body. So hair looks radiant with health and beauty. Organics from the Elida Hair Institute, the first ever root nourishing shampoo.
Tense, nervous headache. You could choose a leading brand of painkiller. Or you could choose from thousands of first choice holidays.
Relieve tense, nervous headaches with First Choice Holidays.
Back in the 70s, I must have listened to this record at least 5,128 times, to the point where if I have to listen to it one more time, I think my head's going to blow up. I hate it. I hate the 70s. I hate nostalgia. I hate clogs. I hate lava lamps. I hate burnt sienna corduroy bell bottoms. But most of all, I hate sugar. This, I don't hate. Holston pills, because it's brewed twice so that all the sugar turns to alcohol. That's no sugar, no honey, and totally candy girl free. Whoops.
Now can we go? I feel awful.
Well, you look awful.
Thanks, you two. I really needed that.
No, Red Nose, this really suits some people. Yeah, much your eyes.
Just wait till you're ill and want sympathy, and then I'll laugh.
Yeah. Don't say I never give you anything.
New Kleenex Ultra are the only tissues enriched with lotion.
That feels good.
Perfect for a big red hooter.
So they're never rough, even on tender skin. They're dry to the touch and feel soothingly soft. New Kleenex Ultra.
You too. Fancy a quick jog around the park?
One of life's little comforts.
Well, come on.
Here's great news about the great flavor of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Now it lasts longer. Same original minty taste, same cool, refreshing taste. But now, it goes that much further. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, now longer lasting flavor.
There are 500 50p coins in circulation. You can save one when you buy a McChicken sandwich extra value meal from McDonald's.
Stand by, I'm right there. We're ready for you, Deborah.
Okay, I'll be right out.
Check the gate.
Gate's clean.
The new Ford Transit. If you'd like to know what makes it more comfortable, safer, and more secure than ever, we have a ton of information for you. Ring 0800 111 222 for your free 15-minute video. From foreign currency to Visa and Switch cards, from travelers' checks to cash machine services, millions of people rely on us to ensure their finances run like clockwork. Get a little extra help with a bank account from the Halifax.
Bienvenue to the Club Hot, deep in the throbbing heart of Paris. A slick, chic haven where the dapper denizens of the city by the Seine come to unwind. For here, we find the globally renowned antidote to all roughness. Heineken Export, the strong silken lager that's smoother than a cashmere codpiece. Heineken Export, as recommended by your smooth-talking bar steward.
Risk any style, but don't risk your hair. I thought styling was torture, but Pantene just changed that.
Introducing new Pro V styling with spritz, spray and mousse to help protect every inch of your hair. Combining patented Pro Vitamin with styling technology, Pantene nourishes as you style.
So style after style, my hair looks so healthy it shines.
New Pantene Pro V styling. It's not just your style, it's your hair.
When I played for England, I never settled for second best, so shredded wheat was my kind of cereal. Nowadays, my needs have changed, but my standards haven't. I still want bran fibre, no added salt or sugar, and 100% whole wheat. So it's got to be shredded wheat. Now that's my kind of delivery.
Nestle, shredded wheat and bite size too.
There is no better cereal.
If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join our club.
Cameras ready.
The new batch continues after news at 10.
You have no idea what I've been through, but I've made it.
And cut. Print it.
Check the gate. That's a half-hour break.
Trying to get your nose broken, pal.
Yeah. Do you know somebody who could do it?
Pal.
On HTV, Cracker, back soon.
New Weller Colour Mousse is simple to use and washes out easily to give your hair fabulous colour and beautiful shine. New Weller Colour Mousse, whenever you feel like a change. Weller, perfectly you.
The ambassadors' receptions are noted in society for their host's exquisite taste that captivates his guests.
Ferrero Rocher.
Delicious.
Excelente.
Monsieur, with this Rocher already spoiling us.
Ferrero Rocher, a sign of good taste.
I'll see Frank join the army then.
What for?
I don't know why Frank did it.
I suppose someone's got to do it.
If you want more of a job and more of a life, to be frank, join the army. Phone 0345 300 111.
Introducing softness you can feel, plus body you can see. Now softness and body come together with new Finesse. Enriched with 2 natural moisturizers, Finesse shampoos and conditioners add softness and body. For hair that looks and feels twice as beautiful, there is only one choice. New Finesse.
Tonight on HTV.
Take me to the top where the elevator stops so I can breathe in. And I keep holding on to what we had when I knew that the years were the worst I'd ever had. Yeah, 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 yeah. You my funky little yeah.
The final confrontation on HTV. First cut tonight at 11:40.
Now, at a little after 10 o'clock, the news from ITN with Trevor MacDonald.
From ITN, News at 10 with Trevor MacDonald.
Talking into the night, still seeking a rail settlement. The return of the plague, the victims waiting to die. Plunging to earth, what happened next to this airliner. And Diana's about turn back into the limelight. Good evening. All the signs are tonight that the rail strike is only hours away from a settlement. Leaders of the Signal Workers Union and Railtrack are continuing their talks into the late evening at the headquarters of the arbitration service ACAS. Fish and chips were taken in earlier this evening. For the latest from the talks, let's go now to our industrial correspondent, Mark Webster.
There have now been more than 50 hours of talks here at ACAS over the last 6 days. Despite the latest delay, it does seem as though they really are on the brink of a settlement. Now, I know you can see up there on the first floor, there are 2 rooms, one either side of the entrance hall, where they are meeting now. They're in separate rooms at the moment, though earlier on, they were actually talking face to face. Now, despite the fact it's obviously proved more difficult than we anticipated just to close the last few inches on this agreement, there is a real mood of optimism here tonight that this long dispute will soon be over. Certainly, Railtrack shared the cautious optimism when the talks began 8 hours ago. They will be able to announce pay and efficiency measures together, and most of the argument's been about how much those changes are worth in money terms. Because the union wouldn't be able to sell the deal to the signal workers in a ballot if there weren't something new on offer, and if their pay claim hasn't been addressed.
Well, we'll wait and see. We're still talking, so we'll see what happens. We'll talk, whether it's today, tomorrow, or whenever.
That's proved prophetic, as the talks have gone on longer than envisaged, as both sides battle to the bitter end for the best deal. However, after a 4-month war of attrition, during which neither side has been able to deliver a decisive blow, it's unlikely anybody will be talking of victory when they do emerge. The only questions will be whether the deal on offer will be accepted by the signal workers themselves, and whether the government will accept that it doesn't breach their public pay policy. And the best indications that we do have is that both sides will accept that this is the agreement that they can live with when they do come out. Now, the chronology is this. They may go on talking to the early hours of this morning, or if it's really desperate, come back tomorrow. Thereafter, the union must go to its executive and then ballot its members to see if they accept it. Railtrack will have to go to the government and convince them that all the measures that they have agreed here really are self-financing. That means there's a good chance still that Thursday and Friday's rail stoppage, as now planned, will be called off. Mark Webster, News at 10, live at ACAS.
The Sinn Féin leader Gerry Adams warned today that current moves towards peace in Northern Ireland could be jeopardised if the leadership of the IRA was to change. Mr. Adams, who's touring the United States, told the Boston Herald newspaper that no one could say what might happen 2 or 3 years up the road. Earlier today, he called for permanent peace and said he wasn't interested in any temporary suspension of violence. ITN's Tom Bradby reports from Boston.
Gerry Adams' third day in America and his first talk show. The national media, preoccupied with Haiti and O.J. Simpson, hasn't really covered his visit, but American journalists have been pressing him to say the ceasefire is permanent. This morning he would only say, "I'm not interested in any temporary suspension." The British government has said it's interested in that, but at a press conference later, Mr. Adams said Mr. Major understood the situation very well.
We sought at the beginning to reassure the British government when we thought they may have had some concerns. I'm quite convinced that John Major understands completely and totally, and perhaps permanently, the IRA's intentions.
He said Mr. Major was playing a tactical game that, from a British perspective, might be a legitimate thing to do. Certainly, the British government do seem to be looking for ways to resolve this issue now. But they're concerned Mr. Adams may get an easy ride here.
Michael
and
who,
sent
Tom?
Michael Mates to challenge him.
Who's Michael Mates? Oh, this is the man that was in charge of repression back in Ireland. This is the British minister who had to resign in disgrace.
How do you take those comments that you were the minister responsible for repression?
I take them with a pinch of salt, as the British public will. I was over there doing my best to try and move us towards a peaceful solution, and at the same time make sure the security forces were able to do their job and that their lives were protected in as much as we could. And the fact that that irritated Mr. Adams probably means I was doing it quite successfully.
Mr. Adams is playing very directly to the American audience here, using terms like British repression and Irish freedom. There is little concentration on his past or on the suffering of the IRA's many victims. From here, Mr. Adams is due to go to Detroit, Cleveland, New York, and finally Washington. So far, the American media hasn't taken much interest in him, but he's due to meet the editorial boards of the New York Times and Time magazine and various administration officials. He is seeking out influential figures and groups who could act as effective levers on British policymakers. Tom Bradby, News at 10 in Boston.
President Bill Clinton told the United Nations today that he's lifting a number of American sanctions imposed on Haiti. They include the ban on civilian flights. In Haiti itself, the American military commander has admitted that an American soldier may have shot first in the gun battle in which 10 Haitians died at the weekend. The Americans aren't apologizing. They say in similar circumstances their response will be equally lethal. From Haiti, here's ITN's Bill Neely.
Rising tension between Haiti's people and police. Angry crowds taunt officers at the country's police headquarters, accusing them of torture and murder. The police here are under siege, attacked by crowds and in deadly fashion by American troops. The US Marines, who shot dead 10 Haitian policemen, insisting that the Haitians fired first, now say a Marine lieutenant fired first, after a Haitian raised his gun.
The lieutenant opened fire, and he was the first one to open fire. We teach our people in use of deadly force, if you think you need it, you don't wait. You use it unhesitatingly. And I hope our lieutenant shot first.
Since the killings, the city has erupted. But people aren't attacking the Americans, they're giving them the guns they've looted from other police stations and army barracks. Dozens of guns, the guns of those who've terrorized them for years. They lay them down like offerings, and not just guns, but grenades, helmets, mattresses. This was a weapons carnival, complete with a bugler. The shackles of the old regime are being broken, lock by lock. Vengeance is swift. The crowds claimed this man was an attaché, a civilian paramilitary who'd beaten and shot people. His fate is unknown. The Americans are due to start a money for guns swap tomorrow. £30 for a handgun, £150 for a semi-automatic. No price yet on grenades. But in this city, the scheme may not be needed. And today, a symbolic homecoming. 200 Haitians who'd fled the country in terror of the military rulers returned into the safekeeping of the Americans. Whatever the American troops did in one incident in one city, they retain the overwhelming support of almost everyone in this country. Bill Neely, News at 10, Haiti.
And in the last few minutes, it's been reported that armed supporters of the exiled President Jean-Bertrand Aristide have seized the northern Haitian town of Le Borgne. A Haitian military official said the town had been attacked by armed civilians. There are no further details. A number of doctors and nurses treating people with pneumonic plague in India have themselves come down with the disease. 400,000 people have fled the city of Surat in panic. Pneumonic plague is a highly contagious type of bubonic plague that affects the lungs. But unlike bubonic plague, which is transmitted by rat fleas, it can also be spread by coughing and sneezing. Untreated, it can kill in 24 hours. ITN's Caroline Kerr reports from India.
To control the plague, the Indian authorities must isolate those who are infected. But they can't stop people taking their relatives out of hospital to care for them at home. Soldiers are posted at hospital gates to keep patients in, but those determined to leave discharge themselves regardless of the rules. Inside the plague hospital, more than 400 people have been admitted. Some, like 8-year-old Rajesh, are responding well to treatment, but others like Narendra, who's 16, may have got here too late. Doctors are concerned that he may not survive. What's most worrying is that some medical staff have now succumbed to the disease as well. But the work to protect those most at risk goes on, even on the streets where doctors dispense antibiotics free of charge. Inevitably, it's the poor who are the most vulnerable, and it's from the slums that most of the plague victims have come.
When the Black Death struck Europe in the Middle Ages, it was spread by rodents. In the overcrowded and unsanitary conditions which prevail in India's slums, once again, it's rats which are spreading the plague.
Rat catchers have been called in to lay down poison, and they're proud to show off their successes. But it's a contribution which seems paltry in proportion to the threat to humanity they're trying to defeat. The risk now is that the plague could spread to Bombay, a city of 12 million people. Every day, trains from Surat arrive and disgorge those desperate to flee the infected area. But each one is potentially a plague carrier and must be screened on arrival. Anyone suffering from fever is put into an isolation unit, much the same as those wards they were trying to escape from in Surat. Among them, a number of young children. For any of their families, a positive diagnosis of plague would mean tragedy. It could also mean disaster for an entire city. Caroline Kerr, News at 10, Bombay.
Some countries, among them Pakistan, Thailand and the United Arab Emirates, say they'll test passengers arriving at their airports from India because of that disease. But here the Department of Health said it had no plans to do that, although it's monitoring the situation carefully. Passengers in an Airbus approaching Paris thought they were about to die when their plane suddenly went into a nosedive. Parisians on the streets below thought the plane was about to crash on their city, but somehow the pilot managed to right the plane and to avoid disaster. Bernard Mann reports.
From horrified watchers on the ground, it seemed disaster was a certainty, the Airbus dropping from the sky like a stone. Then, just 300 metres from the ground, seconds from catastrophe, the pilot somehow regained control. The plane landed safely at Orly Airport, no one hurt. Romanian authorities blamed the computer. In Bucharest, as in Paris, the captain, a former test pilot, is being hailed a hero. But he was almost apologetic about it all.
Nobody was injured, and I like to continue my job in the same procedure. And always I save their lives.
One of those lives, Christian Dinkovic, hadn't flown before. He said the plane had veered sharply upwards before beginning its terrifying dive. No one knew what was happening, he said. I was with my young son. My first reaction was to hug him, perhaps for the last time. There were screams, he said, panic. One passenger clutched his Bible and called out to the Lord to save him. At 300 metres, his prayers were answered.
Still ahead on News at 10 tonight, the model whose breast implants sparked a row over NHS funding. After all the hype, the trial of O.J. Simpson is underway at last. And Diana's changing role, back to the limelight, and some familiar sound.
Major British discoveries in medical technology are celebrated on 4 unusual new stamps from Royal Mail. These achievements have become crucial to world medicine. You'll find the fascinating details in this special presentation pack. Medical discoveries, stamps that pay tribute to all British scientists who work for the health and well-being of mankind.
She thinks you look like all those lads in that rapping band B-17 or something. You know? They're all the same, she says.
E-17 you mean, Dad?
Billy Fury, who's that? Hey?
You okay, Dad? Oh no. I'll get an ambulance, Look yeah? what you've done, eh? I didn't think I was going too fast. So why Sorry. didn't you stop then? Of course you were going too fast! Sorry. Don't go, Dad.
No.
Don't go! Don't leave me here!
Sainsbury's leg of lamb is now down to £1.69 per pound. That's a saving of 70 pence. Roast the lamb as you would normally, and then for a touch of Indian magic, serve it with Sainsbury's pilau rice, mixed with raisins and pistachio nuts. Sainsbury's, where good food costs less.
Wouldn't it be nice if your boss was always pleased to see you? And it wasn't always sandwiches for lunch? Wouldn't it be nice if you had the time to talk to all your customers, get to know them better, because you can call them anywhere in the country, at any time of the day, without getting hung up on the cost?
From September 29th, BT will abolish their highest rate for national calls. A 3-minute call will only cost 30 pence in the daytime, 20 pence in the evening, and still 10 pence at weekends.
Hello? Things are looking up already.
Missed anything? Here we are. Enjoy your meal.
Cheers.
Oh, those look nice. Go on, try one.
There's a lot more to harvester than meets the mouth. Some people like to eat it because it's kind of Swiss. Others eat it every day and never. Some love it in the morning, but you don't have to eat it then. And some because it's original Alpen. Some people like to eat it when they're running late, and on Sunday morning it tastes great. Some eat it meditating with their early mornings in, and some because it's original Alpen.
The doctor at the centre of a row over a topless model who was given NHS treatment to enlarge her breasts defended the operation today. Dr. David Moore denied that the woman was seen after only 8 weeks. He said it was actually 8 months, and he said there were sound medical reasons for the treatment. Our health correspondent Ania Sitharam reports.
Fiona McAndrew, the model at the centre of the row. She thought bigger breasts could improve her career, so she saw her GP and 8 months later had breast implants fitted on the NHS.
I wasn't very happy. I mean, I wasn't very busty, so... and I think, it helped confidence-wise, no doubt.
Fiona's operation cost the taxpayer £2,500. It's one of 670 operations plastic surgeons at Newcastle General Hospital will carry out this year for her local health authority. It says it'll pay for cosmetic surgery as long as doctors give good reasons.
I'm sure that the taxpayers of Newcastle would want the National Health Service to prioritise operations for chronic conditions which many thousands of people have and need treatment, rather than this kind of operation.
Obviously, I can't comment on this particular patient or the reasons for this particular patient's referral, but it's up to me to assess if there's a clinical need.
Clinical need for cosmetic surgery often means diagnosing psychological distress. Government figures say 700 patients have had cosmetic breast implants like these fitted this year, most paid for privately. Plastic surgeons say half of all health authorities won't pay.
These decisions are mistaken, mainly through ignorance of the high levels of distress and the severe disruption to lifestyle that a lot of these patients can suffer from.
Ross Moore's operation for an artificial arm at another Newcastle hospital has been cancelled 5 times. With NHS priorities under scrutiny, his mother asks whose need is greatest, the model's or her son's.
An all-party committee of MPs recommended better paternity rights for fathers today. The MPs say fathers should have a legal right to paternity leave to allow them to become more involved with their children. Last week, the government opted out of new European plans on this subject. What could prove to be the most crucial part of the O.J. Simpson murder trial began in Los Angeles today. It's the potentially endless business of choosing a jury. No trial in America has so caught the nation's attention. There's been such exhaustive media comment about the man and the case that there's great concern about whether Simpson can get a fair trial. Let's go now to the media village that's sprung up next to the courthouse in Los Angeles and to our reporter, Paul Davis.
Trevor, it's early afternoon here in Los Angeles, and after all the pre-trial hype, speculation and leaked prosecution evidence, the trial of O.J. Simpson is finally underway in the courthouse behind me, where the task of finding 12 impartial jurors began some 5 hours ago. Every stage of this trial now followed by a vast audience around the world.
In the home of the movie industry, this real-life drama is bigger business than any soap opera today. A village of broadcast equipment and satellite dishes has sprung up around the courthouse to beam the trial of actor and former American football star O.J. Simpson into many millions of homes.
O.J. Simpson, bud!
Outside the courthouse, the man selling O.J. Simpson badges had sold out by early morning. There were O.J. videos and T-shirts for sale. In this city, it seems, almost everyone has their own opinion on the trial. That is one of the main problems facing the judge, who's so incensed by what he calls inaccurate and damaging reporting that he's threatened to ban the press from his courtroom.
I'm so saturated by the irresponsibility of the media that I'm beyond being outraged. I mean, I'm almost numb to it at this point.
Nicole Brown Simpson, mother of 2 of O.J. Simpson's children, was stabbed to death in June. But it could be months before the evidence against her former husband is heard. First, the 1,000 potential jurors must be vetted, a time-consuming but crucial process. Joellen Demetrius has been hired as a consultant by the Simpson defense team to help them choose the 12 most likely to give the verdict they want.
Are you looking for younger minorities, perhaps?
We're just looking at each person as they individually come in.
The prosecution has also hired its own jury consultant.
Both the prosecution and the defense can veto any juror they don't like, and the racial mix of the jury is likely to be a major issue. This selection procedure is designed to weed out those who've already made their minds up. But in practice, both sides will be looking to stack the jury with those most likely to produce the desired result. Paul Davis, News at 10 live in Los Angeles.
President Yeltsin used his speech at the United Nations today to propose an international treaty to cut the number of nuclear weapons. He said it would make the world a safer place. He had good reasons for hoping that it would, chief among them the cost to his crippled economy and the threat from separatists. It's exactly a year since Yeltsin and his supporters were literally fighting for their lives and for their future in the battle for the Russian White House, the Parliament building. But what, if anything, has President Yeltsin achieved in the last year? Our Moscow correspondent Julian Mannion reports.
1 year ago today, as the White House crisis moved towards its climax, Boris Yeltsin attended an open-air concert in Red Square. The music was Tchaikovsky's celebration of Russian victory, the 1812. A few days later, Yeltsin ordered in the tanks. Yeltsin's courage crushed the hardliners, but since then he has failed to reap the full fruits of that victory.
He's a good destroyer. He's a kind of Terminator. But Yeltsin is much worse at doing something positive, at building something. And the question arises whether the demolition man can also build.
A new Russia has begun to emerge, an economic roller coaster of high-stakes business and mafia crime. At the forefront of this new world, Alexis Ugrik and his partners have invested more than £2 million in a luxury restaurant and nightclub just behind the White House. The customers are flocking in, but what kind of new Russia do they represent?
They don't believe on the future, they want the money right now.
What is your number one problem here?
Stealing. That is basically, people are stealing everything. From screw, from everything. From silverware, from ashtray, from anything. You name it.
A few miles away, the pitiful funeral of a man for whom the changes in Russia meant only a pauper's grave. Andrei Golovin died shortly after losing his job in a privatized shop. His family could not afford a coffin, so he was lowered to rest in a plastic bag. But for now, the voices of the dispossessed are not threatening the government. In the last few months, Yeltsin's government has achieved a measure of stability. Inflation is down, and the new parliament seems more interested in voting itself perks and privileges than in revolution. But outside Moscow, much of industry is still in free fall. And for many Russians, there are times when Boris Yeltsin simply doesn't seem to be in control. One such moment came last month, on the historic day that Russian troops withdrew from Germany. In an eccentric display, the Russian president seized the baton from a German bandsman and conducted the music himself. Later, he grabbed a microphone and sang a Russian love song. In Moscow, where it caused a scandal, some unkind commentators put it down to drink. The enormous popularity Yeltsin once enjoyed has dwindled to an approval rating of less than 20% amid widespread disillusion with politics. No one is writing Yeltsin off, but a year after the White House battle, the man who freed Russia from communism still has to prove that he can build a new society on the ruins of the old. Julian Mannion, News at 10, Moscow.
Soccer news, the Premiership derby between Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday ended in a 1-1 draw. Leeds were first off the mark, Gary McAllister scoring after 13 minutes. But Sheffield, down to 10 men, got the equaliser, Mark Bright beating the offside trap only 2 minutes later. And finally, it seems such a short time since the Princess of Wales announced her withdrawal from public life, but now the talk is that she's about to come back. ITN's Ian Glover-James reports.
Suddenly, Princess Diana is back, not on the official rota of royal engagements, but back in the public eye. No police protection at her own request, and the princess looked uneasy as she dodged photographers. But this is the image of Princess Diana, the caring charity patron observers say royal circles now want back. Last year, beset by personal troubles, the princess signalled she was bowing out.
I hope you can find it in your hearts to understand and to give me the time and space that has been lacking in recent years.
But it didn't work. Princess Diana spent her private life dodging the cameras. And the scandals on the tabloid front pages. For 9 months, Diana's public diary's been virtually empty. She's had just 4 engagements. Suddenly that's changed. Today she was at the Child Bereavement Trust. Tomorrow she's back attending the World Piano Competition at the Royal Festival Hall. Next week she'll be the star guest at London Fashion Week with leading British designers. 24 hours later she'll be in public again, supporting a hospices charity at another London concert.
She's still sorting herself out. She's done it to a degree, but I think coming back and doing these public duties and under more control and in a limited fashion will be a help to her.
The trouble is Princess Diana generates her own publicity even when she's trying not to. That's why a return to the limelight and the good news headlines now seems likely. Ian Glover-James, News at 10 in central London.
That's the news tonight. From all of us here, good night.
Good evening. Let's get things going by putting our weather in context. And a look at our Met Office wind flow chart here shows high pressure out to the west. Now, these couple of fronts here are a weakening feature and about to move off the scene. The front that really counts is this one up to the north, bringing rain to Scotland and Northern Ireland during the night. So by tomorrow lunchtime, we see this front really does dominate the weather. In fact, during the week, it will become a noticeable feature, wriggling southwards at times, nudging northwards at other times, and more or less a dividing line between the cooler weather up to the north and the milder weather further south. On to the detail for tomorrow, then starting with England and Wales, very much a cloudy start to the day. Couple of gleams of sunshine, don't hold your breath, and some coastal mist and drizzle out to the west. Where we do see the rain and drizzle, and especially in the west again, is in Scotland and Northern Ireland. In fact, becoming even more continuous as the afternoon ticks by, although at the same time, eastern Scotland brightening up as that cooler, brighter weather tucks in, and brightening up in general. With temperatures round about the norm for the south, 18 is a high of 64, a chilly 12 in the far north, only 54 Fahrenheit, and windy with it. That's all from me. Good night.
In a few moments, there's a chance to catch up on the day's news for the West, followed by the conclusion of our film, Gremlins 2, at 10:40.
If you're moaning mouth, ain't nice to know. When you stand real close, it tells you so.
Take that as a warning. Gotta stop whatever's forming. Aquafresh.
Aquafresh not only freshens breath, it also helps fight plaque, gum disease and tooth decay.
It's a fresh approach to mouth protection.
And at the end of the day, Aquafresh still stays with you.
Aquafresh, it's not just a pretty taste.
Major British discoveries in medical technology are celebrated on 4 unusual new stamps from Royal Mail. These achievements have become crucial to world medicine. You'll find the fascinating details in this special presentation pack. Medical discoveries, stamps that pay tribute to all British scientists who work for the health and well-being of mankind.
Singh, Sevi and Jimenez in Lancome Trophy battle. Sport AM 150.
Oh, the singular, the fingular, the biscuits without any bends. They're long, the little and thin in the middle and come to a stop at the ends. They're long and thin with a chocolate skin like sticks in chocolate silk. But the most singular thing in a finger is...
Chocolate Fingers, the fingular biscuit from Cadbury.
Cadbury's Dairy Milk. Lovely biscuits.
Before you can buy a house that's right for you, you need a mortgage you can feel at home with.
That's why TSB will always try to put together a mortgage that's as individual as you are. So when you find a house that's really you, you know where to come for a mortgage, don't you? TSB, we want you to say yes.
Take a grade A chicken with an unbelievable £2 off, and you've got one of the many Iceland exclusive deals. That's why Mum's gone to Iceland.
If you want to be heard, register to vote. Your council will send you a form.
Have you noticed how beautiful women always look so natural? But sometimes even nature needs a helping hand. So we've introduced a new generation of Nivea, Nivea Visage, formulated with today's advanced ingredients, such as the liposomes and vitamin E found in our Liposome Day Cream. For naturally beautiful face care you can rely on, Nivea Visage cleansers, toners and moisturizers. Nivea Visage.
I never expected that.
I never expected that.
When life exceeds your expectations, you need a building society that does too.
We'd like to invest some money.
At Birmingham Midshires, we're trained to find you exactly the right savings account.
If you find something that suits you better in the next 14 days, we'll return your money. Plus the interest. I never expected that. Allow me.
Birmingham Midshires. We'll exceed your expectations.
Now, the conclusion of this evening's movie premiere, Gremlins 2.
Hey, Jerry, stop that now. Number one, final checks. We're ready to go.
Hey, Tommy, you got that sorted out yet? After the break, I want to get set up for the medium, but you got to get that light fixed first.
No problem. We can sort it out.
Okay.
Smoother than Dr. Slinky McVelvet, inventor of the word mellifluous.
The new Ford Transit. If you'd like to know what makes it more comfortable, safer, and more secure than ever, we have a ton of information for you. Ring 0800 111 222 for your free 15-minute video.
What's the secret behind great-looking makeup? Max Factor's Dual Effect, an oil-free moisturizer that helps makeup work better. Max Factor International.
All right. Oh, we had stew last night too. I thought you used surf. I do. And we had red wine. And chocolate ice cream.
Come off it. My pad can't always shift that lot on a first wash.
Well, I've got new surf. For the same great price, it's now got a super new formula that starts to work sooner on stains for a cleaner wash. Or Lever Brothers guarantee your money back. And the sooner it starts working, the sooner you can start playing.
You could have told me sooner.
Oi!
I'll lend her some.
No,
just
no,
a cupful.
no.
I don't know what's happened this morning. The battle was supposed to start an hour ago. Here comes someone now.
Sorry about the delay. My lot won't budge until they've had their Weetabix. But we're ready to start now.
They've had their Weetabix. They've had their Weetabix.
They've had their
They've had their
Have you had your Weetabix?
The fresh French cream and real fruit in Yoplay's new creme fraiche yogurt make it utterly absorbing. Yoplait creme fraiche yogurt tastes like heaven on earth.
How can you turn your money into a no-risk investment when going for the big return can turn into the big gamble? It's a question of common sense. Go for the security of General Accident's guaranteed capital bond, and after 5 years, you're guaranteed a 30% return with a chance of a windfall on top. General Accident, the common sense approach to life. Call free on 0500 100 200 now.
I'm Sadie.
I'm Darren. I go out with a lovely girl called Billy.
I'm Billy.
I hate
The lads.
flowery dresses. I like chicks.
Chicks?
Birds, babes, women.
I've got a very good man who takes care of me. I have some pet frogs.
Frisian cows. I've got a pigeon chest. Spots round here.
On my forehead, my nose.
Don't worry about it. Just oxycute them. Oxy 10.
Spots? Oxycute 'em with Oxy 10.
I just use Oxy 10.
All right.
Smoother than a puma cheating at backgammon. Heineken Export, as recommended by your smooth-talking bar steward.
For this shot here, right?
Yeah, but Rob, are you sure it's going to match?
Yeah, it'll work. Don't worry. Let's get moving.
Okay.
Get in the evening when they catch the news attendance on because it's no added sugar alcohol.
You know that little crack you've been trying to ignore? Well, surprisingly, Autoglass can usually repair it without replacing the windscreen. It'll be strong enough to pass the MOT, and it could even be free. Provided, that is, you call us in time.
Listen carefully. You're about to hear something you won't hear very often. The Rover 600 series. Cars built this well are few and far between.
The Virgo man is neat, methodical, a perfectionist. Critical of everyone else.
No?
He hates being criticized himself. However, he's immensely practical.
Yeah.
If there's one thing a Virgo demands, it's punctuality.
I don't mind you being late. You know, this is all rubbish.
Shame, says Virgos make great lovers.
Really?
Are you ready for this?
Losing weight can be easy.
Say yeah.
With Weight Watchers, you can shed those pounds fast and still eat your favorite foods. Leslie lost 6 pounds in just 2 weeks, and so can you. Join Weight Watchers now and registration's free. Save £9.
Everybody can do it.
And get this free 10-minute workout video with GMTV's Mr. Motivator. Call 0454 619 799 now or see Yellow Pages. All it takes is a little motivation.
Let's do it.
To find out more about Legal & General savings and investment products, including PEPs and distribution bonds, call 0800 887878.